Okay, so now let's talk about how to get the Spider Lightning or Slide apps out in the open by using Azure's Kubernetes service or AKS. So let's get started. For that, the first thing that you'll need is Azure's CLI. I'm on Mac, so to install it, I just did a brew install Azure CLI, but if you're on any other sort of device, you can look up on the Azure documentation to find how to install it for your system. With that done, the next step is to enable or add the extension for the AKS preview. I've already done that, but the way that you do it on your machine is AZ extension add in the name of your extension, which in this case is AKS preview. I'll just re-enter this, but it will tell me that it's already installed. Cool. You might want to update it as well if you're watching this at a later point and you have already installed it. So you'll do an update named AKS preview. Cool. At this point, other than having the AKS preview extension, we also need to enable the Wasm node pool preview feature. So let me just cancel this. And the way that we enable the feature or register the feature is by saying AZ feature register. We give it a namespace, which in this case is Microsoft.container service, and the name of the feature, which is Wasm node pool preview. Again, I've already done this step, but all that I get is that it is registered. So you see right here the status that it is registered, in fact. All right. If you haven't registered before, it will tell you that it is registering, and you'll have to wait a bit to proceed with the next step. But you can check your status by running this command right here. So it's just AZ feature show. Again, same namespace, name, and if it's registering, it will always tell you registering. Once it is registered, the next step is to register the provider of this feature, which is Microsoft Container Service. So you can run this command right here. So AZ provider register and Microsoft Container Service. Again, I've already done this step, but this will finish in no time. And at this point, we'll get started with creating an actual AKS cluster for us. So let me open this on the AZ portal. Move this aside. All right, so right here, if you're in the AZ portal, you just want to hit create a resource and look up AKS. Should be the second listing, Azure Kubernetes Service. Hit there, hit create. Here, I'll use my own subscription and we'll create a new resource group. We'll call it use WASI node tools RG for resource group. Hit OK. We're not going to use standard, we're just going to use dev test. It's just for tutorial's purpose. And I'll probably delete it right after. And cluster name, we'll call it use WASI node tools C for cluster name. And that's pretty much it. We can just hit review and create. At this point, looks like I did forget something. Let's check it out. Currently unavailable for this location. Okay, we can just change our location to US East. Hit review and create. And looks like we're good. So at this point, while it loads, you can just verify your information, make sure we got everything right. In this case, we're only really caring about the resource group and the cluster name. Looks okay to me. We hit create. And this step will take a little bit. So as soon as we get to the next page, I'll cut the video and come back as soon as it is done. So we get submitting deployment. There we go, deployment in progress. So we'll see this come up soon, and I'll be right back. All right, so at this point, our resource is deployed, and we can finally add our WASI node pools. So we can do that by saying AZ AKS node pool add, pass in our resource group, which was called use WASI node pools RG, and our cluster name oops, name, which is called use WASI node pools C. Next up, we give it a name to our actual pool. I would call it use WASI node pool pools, but I've been running that way too much, so I'll say use WASI node pools. So abbreviated. And a node count of 1. And to finish off the most important bit, a workload runtime of WASI. Hit enter, and our node pool will be on its way. You see right here that the behavior of this command has been altered. If you hadn't added the AKS preview extension, it will give you an error saying that the workload runtime is not a valid argument. So this will hit run, and it might take a bit to complete, so I'll be right back again. Alright, looks like our node pool was successfully created, and the next step right here is to get our kubectl to connect to our Kubernetes cluster. And we can do that with AKS get credentials and pass in the name of our cluster, which was use WASI node pools C, and the name of our resource group, use WASI node pools RG. Hit OK. This shouldn't take too long, and we'll say that our local configs were set to use or to properly connect with our AKS resource. Amazing. We can test that this worked by running kubectl get nodes worldwide. And there we go. Here's our UWNPP node pool that we just created. All right. One last thing that I want to do is a bit of a sanity check. We can do a kubectl describe node, and I want to describe this node right here. Hit enter, and we'll get a bunch of info, right? But really what I want to show is right here. So you see we have wasm times light v1 and wasm times spin v1 both equal to true, and those are the runtime classes that we want to use, right? All right, next up, all we have left to do is create our actual workload that we want to run. So I'll run this now on code, and we're going to create a workload file, workload.yaml, and I have this ready on the side. We'll copy and paste, but we'll walk through it. So in here, what are we doing? We're creating, first one is a deployment kind, and it's this image, or this image. We're giving it a name of hello's light, and this is really just an example image where we can curl with our load balancer route of hello, and we'll say hello back. And that's just about it. Simple enough. We can save this, go back to our terminal, and in here, we're just going to run kubectl, apply F, and we'll pass in our workload. All right, both of them were created. In here, we can now, let's just do a kubectl get fonts all wide. Looks like we are running and we're good to go. We'll do a kubectl get service to get our external IP. And there it is. So now, moment of truth, we can do a curl, HTTP, add in our external IP, and again, like I said, a route of hello should give us, fingers crossed, a hello back. Beginning might take a little bit because something is still getting set up. Right, this is currently 18 seconds old, but we should get it back soon enough. Sometimes you gotta try that again. Ensure that our pods are indeed running. Yeah, running, age 71 seconds, and we're ready and good to go. So this, oh, there we go, it works. And that is it.